In the magical world of Wingardium, a prophecy stirred the air. This realm, a tapestry of whimsy and wonder, is home to a diverse array of mystical inhabitants, from the graceful unicorns that gallop through emerald meadows to the playful fairies that dance beneath the glow of the moonlight. And let's not forget the wise wizards and cunning witches who cast spells that sparkle like stardust echoing through the enchanted forests and shimmering lakes. But every story has its villains, and Wingardium is no exception. The land is ruled by Mr. and Mrs. Evil, a pair of formidable wizards whose names alone send shudders down the spines of the bravest creatures. Their reign has cast a shadow over the vibrant kingdom, their tyranny oppressing the once joyful inhabitants. Yet, hope still flickers in the heart of Wingardium, kept alive by an ancient prophecy. A tale as old as the realm itself, whispered on the wind and etched in the stars. It tells of a young boy and a girl who will step into this magical world, bringing with them the potential to liberate Wingardium from its ruthless rulers. The prophecy doesn't provide a clear picture of who these children are or where they will come from. It only assures that they will rise when the realm needs them the most. The prophecy also speaks of the Grenlets, the kindest creatures in the kingdom, who, despite their troll-like appearance, possess hearts full of compassion. They are the first to meet the prophesied heroes, recognizing the spark of destiny that glimmers in their eyes. And so our story begins with two unlikely heroes, Lucy and Luca. Two ordinary children from a world far removed from the enchantments of Wingardium, completely unaware of the great destiny that awaits them. Their journey is just beginning, and the prophecy is about to unfold. Little do they know, they are about to become the beacon of hope that Wingardium has been waiting for. Lucy and Luca, two ordinary children, stumbled upon something extraordinary. A day like any other had taken an unexpected turn when they found a peculiar key glinting in the sunlight. It was unlike anything they had ever seen before, ornate and shimmering, as if it was not of this world. As they held it, a strange warmth spread through their palms, tingling their senses with an inexplicable energy. Their curious minds were buzzing with questions, but before they could even begin to unravel the mystery, a sudden whirl of colours enveloped them. The world around them blurred, and in the blink of an eye, they were no longer in the familiar surroundings of their hometown. Instead, they found themselves in an entirely different realm, a place they had never seen nor heard of. The magical land of Wingardium. This realm was unlike any other. It was vibrant, alive and teeming with magic. Wingardium was the home of the mythical and the magical, a place where unicorns pranced, fairies fluttered, and wizards and witches held the reins of power. The land was ruled by a notorious duo, Mr. and Mrs. Evil, who had all the magical creatures under their thumb. To the inhabitants of Wingardium, Lucy and Luca were outsiders, strangers, and potential threats. They were called banishers, a term that echoed with fear and suspicion. The children were perplexed, their minds a whirlwind of confusion. They didn't understand how they had ended up in this realm, or why they were being perceived as threats. But as they looked around, a rainbow sky above and a colourful road beneath, they wondered if they were dreaming. The world was mesmerizing, filled with unimaginable wonders, yet it was also daunting. The sudden shift from their ordinary lives to this extraordinary world was a lot to process, and they were unsure of what lay ahead. Yet, amidst the confusion, there was an underlying sense of adventure. They had stumbled upon a magical key, been whisked away to a fantastical realm, and though they didn't know it yet, they were about to embark on a journey of a lifetime. Little did they know, they were the key to a prophecy, the hope of Wingardium, and the destiny of this magical land was now intertwined with their own. As they looked around, a rainbow sky above and a colourful road beneath, they wondered if they were dreaming. Their arrival was not unnoticed. The Grenlets, kind-hearted creatures, recognized them from the prophecy. As Lucy and Luca looked around, bewildered by the rainbow sky and the colourful road beneath their feet, a brave Grenlet stepped forward. This Grenlet, with eyes filled with hope, approached the pair with a sense of urgency and respect. "Greetings, Lucy and Luca," it said, its voice a soothing rumble that echoed around the vibrant landscape. We've been expecting you, for you are the children of the prophecy. The Grenlet gestured to the magical ball in its hand, a sphere that shimmered with 1,000 colors and pulsed with a light as bright as the stars. As the ball glowed, an ethereal voice filled the air, speaking of a prophecy that had been whispered among the Grenlets for generations. The prophecy spoke of a boy and girl from another realm who would come to Wingardium. These children, it said, were destined to break the chains of tyranny woven by the wicked Meister and Mrs. Evil. They would bring hope and harmony back to the realm, uniting all magical creatures under a banner of peace and love. The Grenlets, it explained, had been banished to Pixie Town, their voices silenced, their magic suppressed. But they believed in the prophecy. They believed in Lucy and Luca. Their eyes pleaded with the pair, conveying a message that words could not. Help us. Lucy and Luca, still reeling from the revelation, exchanged glances. They were ordinary kids, thrust into an extraordinary situation. But they saw the desperation in the Grenlets' eyes, felt the weight of their hope, and they knew they couldn't turn their backs. With a sense of purpose, Lucy and Luca decided to help the Grenlets, unaware of the challenges that lay ahead. They didn't know how they would defeat the powerful Meister and Mrs. Evil, or how they would unite the realm, but they knew they had to try. After all, they were the children of the prophecy. To unlock their true power, Lucy and Luca had to traverse the perilous, forbidden mountain. An intimidating challenge, to say the least, but our young heroes were undeterred. Their journey led them through a world unlike any they had seen before, a world far removed from the reality they knew. First, they faced the rough terrain. It was a patchwork quilt of jagged rocks and steep cliffs, a landscape that seemed to be deliberately designed to keep them out. But with each step they grew more resilient, more determined. The grueling terrain was a test of their endurance, a test they were not willing to fail. Next, they ventured into the cavernous depths of the Forbidden Mountain. The caves were a labyrinth of winding tunnels and echoing chambers, each one darker and more ominous than the last. The echoes of their own footsteps were a constant companion, a reminder that they were venturing further and further into an unknown world. Just when they thought they had faced all the mountain had to throw at them, they were met with a vast, unforgiving ocean. The water was as dark as the caves, but they knew they had to cross it. With the help of their newfound magical abilities, they forged ahead, braving the choppy waters and the creatures lurking beneath. The final challenge came in the form of the mountain's inhabitants, the trolls. These creatures were fierce, guarding their territory with a ferocity that was both terrifying and awe-inspiring. But Lucy and Luca held their ground. They had come too far to back down now. Their journey ended at a mysterious door that refused to open. It was an imposing sight, standing tall and unyielding in the face of their attempts to unlock it. But then Luca remembered the key he had found back in their world. With a moment of suspense hanging in the air, he tried the key in the door. To their relief and surprise, the door swung open, revealing an unknown fate. With the key from their world, they unlocked the door, stepping into an unknown fate. Their journey through the Forbidden Mountain had tested them in ways they could never have imagined, but they had emerged stronger, braver, and ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. Inside the door, they met a figure shrouded in mystery. Lucy and Luca could barely make out a silhouette in the dim light. This figure, whose identity remained a secret, was imposing yet had an air of kindness. The unknown figure spoke with a voice that echoed through the room, a voice full of wisdom, strength, and a hint of untold tales of bravery. "Welcome, Lucy and Luca," the figure began. "You have come far, and your journey has only just begun." The figure then gestured towards two gleaming objects. As their eyes adjusted to the light, the children saw something they could hardly believe. Suits of armor so intricate and beautiful they seemed to be crafted from the stuff of dreams. The figure continued, "These are no ordinary suits. They are imbued with the magic of Wingardium, and they will protect you in your fight against the evils. Wear them with honor, for they symbolize the hopes of all those who believe in the prophecy." As they donned their new gear, They could feel the magic pulse around them, a protective force field that made them feel invincible. The armor was surprisingly light, with a snug fit that allowed them to move freely. Each piece of armor was imbued with a different magical property, providing them with a range of abilities they could hardly comprehend. But before they could fully appreciate their new powers, the figure uttered a final farewell. "Your time here is over. It is up to you now," he said, and with a snap of his fingers, they found themselves back in the land of the pixies. The Grenlets looked on in awe as Lucy and Luca emerged, shining in their magical armor. They were no longer just the banishers from the prophecy, they were now the champions of Wingardium, the beacon of hope for the oppressed magical creatures. Armed with their new gear and a newfound courage, they were ready to face the evils. Their journey had just begun, but they were not the same children who had stumbled into this magical world. They were warriors, ready to fight for a cause bigger than themselves. Lucy and Luca rallied the Grenlets, ready to storm the palace of the evils. Their hearts were pounding like drums, their newfound armor glinting in the peculiar light of the Wingardium realm. The Grenlets, small but formidable, formed a sea of brave faces, their loyalty unwavering. The air was heavy, charged with a sense of impending battle. They set off, a formidable force moving as one, but their exit from Pixie Town was not without sacrifice. As they ventured forth, some Grenlets evaporated into thin air, their essence returning to the land they loved. The elder Grenlet, wise and weathered, stepped forth. His voice was soft, yet it echoed in the stillness. "We can no longer be of help," he said. "The prophecy rests on your shoulders now." With the elder's words still ringing in their ears, Lucy and Luca steeled themselves for what was to come. They had no choice but to press on, the fate of Wingardium resting in their hands. Just as they were about to cross the threshold of Pixie Town, they were ambushed. The evils, Mr. and Mrs. Evil, were waiting for them, flanked by an army of magical beings. Unicorns, pixies, wizards, witches, all under the control of the evils, stared them down. The sheer size of the opposing force was daunting, but Lucy and Luca stood their ground. They were the banishers, the ones destined to save Wingardium, and they would not back down. The tension in the air was palpable, a silent standoff before the storm, and then with a deafening roar the enemy charged. The ground shook with the onslaught of the evil's army, their faces twisted in a grotesque parody of determination. In the face of the impending attack, Lucy's wand began to glow. It was a beacon in the chaos, its light growing brighter and brighter. As the enemy charged, Lucy's wand lit up, her power finally unleashed. It was a sight to behold, a testament to the power of hope and destiny. The battle had begun, and Wingardium's fate hung in the balance. In the face of adversity, Lucy and Luca had grown from ordinary children to heroes of a magical realm. Their journey began with a simple key, a mundane object that transformed their lives into an extraordinary tale of courage and friendship in the magical world of Wingardium. They were thrust into a world of enchantment, amidst unicorns, fairies, wizards and witches. Yet their introduction was far from a warm welcome. Known as the Banishers, they were seen as a threat. But their fate was intertwined with the realm's destiny, a prophecy foretelling their arrival and the salvation they would bring. Lucy and Luca's journey was a testament to their courage. They navigated through treacherous terrains, braved the forbidden mountain, and faced the notorious Mr. and Mrs. Evil. They learned the meaning of fear, but more importantly, they learned how to conquer it. Their companionship with the Grenlets, the kind-hearted creatures, taught them the value of friendship. The Grenlets were their guide, their allies, their friends. They stood by Lucy and Luca, even in the face of danger, demonstrating that true friendship withstands even the harshest of trials. The prophecy, the destiny, it was a burden too heavy for young shoulders. Yet Lucy and Luca accepted it. They chose to fight, not for themselves, but for a world that initially rejected them. This selfless act of bravery was their ultimate growth. From the bewildered children who first set foot in Wingardium, they emerged as true heroes, ready to face any challenge that came their way. Their story is a reminder that courage isn't the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. It's about standing up when it's easier to turn away, about forging friendships in unlikely places, and about embracing your destiny, no matter how daunting it may seem. And so our tale ends. But the adventures of Lucy and Luca in the magical world of Wingardium are far from over.